Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our 2:30 streaming show. I'm Jamie French.
And I'm Robinson Miles. Of course, a lot happened over this past weekend, so we're just going to go ahead and jump right into our headlines here. Okay, first of all, you probably noticed stepping outside, it sure feels a whole lot different than it did yesterday. No one's more aware of that than a group of firefighters in Warwick County. Now, they had to brave the cold this morning to fight a house fire. Officials say the call came in just after 8 at a home on Lincoln Trail Road in Tennyson. Now, thankfully, officials say the family made it out safely, but strong winds and below freezing temperatures made their job even harder.
That's right. Officials say 40-mile-per-hour winds this morning caused the fire to spread quickly across the entire roof and siding and even into the basement. Plus, the water that they used to put the fire out with added some danger because it froze as it hit the ground. Fire officials say the extreme cold really takes a toll on firefighters' body, so they had to call in some backup. Boonville and Pigeon Township firefighters also came, and they brought some more water. Officials say in weather like this, it's important for crews to take breaks and, try to get in the trucks and warm up when they can. Now, officials say the family that lived in that home is displaced, but they're working to find some temporary housing. And, of course, crews are still working to learn what exactly caused that house fire.
Now, we can't forget that before the temperature dropped, we did have that wave of storms move through. One of the places affected by that is a Pike County animal shelter, which now needs fosters after last night's storms displaced some of their dogs. Now, high winds flipped multiple outdoor kennels upside down at the Pike Animal Welfare Shelter in Petersburg. Now, this happened around 8 p.m. last night. The manager says a crew member had just finished feeding and watering the dogs in the yard when the storm hit. Now, since there were only 19 kennels in the building and 34 dogs, many of them had been moved into crates.
Yeah, officials say since posting on Facebook for emergency fosters, 4 dogs have left, so people are starting to step up and help. But that still leaves 11 in need of temporary shelter. We'll have more information on how you can help tonight on 14 News.
And of course, we've got a lot more happening across the tri-state today, and so our team is all over gathering all kinds of information, so be sure to check back in. 9 to 14 News at 4, 5, and 6, and later tonight for a streaming-only show at 10.
All right, don't go anywhere. Of course, meteorologist Arden Gregory will be right back with a check at your 14 First Alert forecast.
Stay informed on your local news and weather throughout the day by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows. At 8:30 a.m., get your First Alert forecast to plan the day ahead and catch up on the news that happened overnight with the 14 News Sunrise team. In the afternoon, get the latest headlines, forecasts, and a preview of the stories we're working on with the 14 First Alert streaming show at 2:30. And get an in-depth look at the 14 First Alert forecast so you're ready for the next big thing with the 14 First Alert weather show at 9 p.m. Watch the 14 First Alert streaming show that fits your schedule and works best for you. Streaming on your phone by downloading the 14 News app and the 14 First Alert weather app. On your smart TV by using the 14 News streaming app. And stream anytime on Facebook, YouTube, or on 14news.com. Stay connected and stay informed by watching the 14 First Alert streaming shows on your favorite streaming devices.
Good afternoon. I'm 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory. This is a look at our 24-hour temperature change. So what that means is it is currently, right now, 45 degrees colder than it was at this same time yesterday. So the cold front that moved through last night really packed a punch across the tri-state. Now, in addition to bringing this sweeping cold to our region, that cold front did bring us some storms. We had a line of storms move through last night. Sorry, I'm having trouble getting the Facebook stream pulled up here. We had a line of storms move through last night. Some of those were severe. We have had reports of wind damage in places like Wayne, Edwards, Wabash, Gibson, Pike, and Du Bois County. So really along that northern row of counties in the tri-state as that line of storms move through. But there have also been some reports in parts of Henderson and Davis counties. So we have had a lot of reports of tree damage, trees downed, some power lines down, things like that from last night. Most of that is getting cleaned up now, and we're in pretty good shape. I know that the National Weather Service is planning on collecting more information about where all that damage was today, and then tomorrow they're discussing possibly going out and surveying damage in a few spots in the tri-state, mainly Wayne, Edwards, and Wabash counties in Illinois, just to verify, was it straight line winds, was it a brief weak tornado, just trying to get that confirmation. But either way, that cold front did bring us some severe storms and some wind damage last night. That rain has all since pushed off to the east. We've had just a few flurries wrapping around on the backside of that system, but really it's mainly dry across the tri-state today. We may have a few flurries up in Gibson County right now, but it's mostly dry. It is still mostly cloudy though. We've had a few peaks of sun mainly on the southeast corner of the tri-state, but in general, it's been kind of gray out there today. As we move forward, it's going to stay mostly cloudy through this evening and most of the night tonight as well. Tomorrow morning, though, the clouds start to slide off to the east, and tomorrow, especially through the morning and middle part of the day, it does look like it's going to be mostly sunny. Then we start to see some clouds push back in late Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday evening, but still not expecting any rain. I am keeping an eye on the comments, just so you know. Good afternoon, Emma, Zach, Cheyenne, Mary. William is reporting 0.38 inches of rain by Bossy Field there, and now back in winter mode. Yes, it is cold out there. I just mentioned earlier it's 45 degrees colder than it was at this same time yesterday. Now yesterday we hit a record high of 70. The former record was 68 degrees. Yesterday we made it to 70. Now dramatically colder out there. It's 23 degrees right now in Evansville, 24 in Newburgh, Owensboro, Henderson, Mount Vernon. A little warmer to the south where they've had a few peaks of sun, 26 in Madisonville, 28 in Greenville. But look at how cold it feels. So the actual temperatures are in the 20s. That is plenty cold, especially after nearly a week in the 60s and 70s. But now that wind not only is bringing in colder air, it's making it feel even colder than it actually is. So our wind chills are in the single digits to teens, just depending on your location. Huntingburg, the coldest spot with a wind chill of just 7 right now, feels like 10 in Evansville and Henderson, 12 in Owensboro. Greenville, one of the warmer spots, feeling like just 17, and that's the warmest spot on the map. And again, all of this is coming back to the wind. We've got this cold wind coming in from the northwest. As those storms rolled through last night, our wind direction sharply changed. As those storms rolled through, we dropped 12 degrees last night in 1 hour. We went from temperatures in the upper 60s to lower 50s, I mean, just like that. And then it kept getting colder as the night went on, and this cold, dry air from the northwest moved in. We still have this cold breeze coming in around 10 to 20 miles an hour in many locations. As that chilly wind continues, our temperatures are going to drop back out of the 20s and into the teens tonight. So we'll probably top out somewhere in the low to mid-teens today. We're pretty close to our warmest part of the day right now. And then we'll start to gradually drop back through the 20s and into the upper teens tonight. Keep in mind, though, that wind will make it feel colder than that. Wind chills are sitting in the lower teens for most of us right now. That'll remain the case into the night tonight, and then by early tomorrow morning, those wind chills may dip down into the single digits again. That does put us in this extreme caution zone, which means you do need to bundle up a little bit more than you maybe normally would. If you're going to be outside for an extended period of time, if you work outdoors or anything like that, make sure you've got a couple of different layers on underneath then an outer coat, at least one, maybe 2 layers on your lower half, depending on how long you're going to be outside and how thick that material is. You're going to want to wear warm boots, warm socks, and a hat and gloves if you're going to be outside for any extended period of time. Again, I know this is probably a shock to the senses. It was 70 degrees yesterday, and today we're talking about single-digit wind chills and having to bundle up. But that's just how strong that cold front was last night. By the end of the night tonight, our temperatures will bottom out in those mid to upper teens. It's going to be mostly cloudy. Wind chills could get as low as 7 to 10 degrees tonight, as we will still have that chilly breeze coming in from the northwest at around 7 to 14 miles an hour. Especially early on in the night, we could still have some gusts up close to 20 to 25 miles an hour. Then tomorrow, the clouds move out tomorrow morning. In general, Tuesday looks mostly sunny, although we will still have a few clouds in the mix. It is not going to be as windy tomorrow, which also means it's not going to be as cold. So this wind dies down, we get some sunshine in here. That's going to help warm us up. High temperatures will be in the low to mid 30s then Tuesday afternoon. Moving forward then, we continue that warm up and we've got highs ranging from the upper 30s to low to mid 40s from Wednesday through the weekend. We will have kind of a mix of sun and clouds throughout the week, but I doubt we'll see any rain. There's a very slight chance we could catch a stray shower on Friday, mainly in western Kentucky. There's going to be some rain moving through the deep south, and we could maybe just get clipped by the northern edge of that, but I'm not even totally convinced of that. So maybe a stray shower mainly in western Kentucky Friday evening, but much of the next 7 days really looks pretty dry. And what really stands out to me, oddly enough, about the temperatures from Wednesday through the weekend is that they're normal. That's not something I've gotten to say a whole lot so far this month of December. We had very, very cold temperatures the first half of the month and then very warm temperatures for the past week or two. And honestly, they've kind of evened out when you look at the average temperature for the month of December. It looks like we've been right on par because the very cold and the very warm temperatures kind of evened each other out. But what we haven't had a lot of is just kind of typical December days. We're finally going to get a few of those right here at the end and then into the first few days of January. So tomorrow, still about 10 degrees cooler than average, highs in the low to mid 30s, but then our average high is 43. And so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as we close out 2025 and start 2026, we've got just nice, normal, average late December, early January weather. Isn't that a nice change of pace? Now looking ahead to next week, we do see a slight warm up. We could see those temperatures climbing into the lower 50s by Monday. Still nothing compared to the 60s and 70s we've had for most of this past week, but trending just ever so slightly warmer than average by about 10 degrees. Looking at the extended outlook then from Tuesday, January 6th up through January 12th, the general trend does seem to show near to slightly above average temperatures. So those warmer temps in the upper 40s to low 50s may hang around for much of next week. And then the precipitation outlook shows near average precipitation, maybe some wetter weather off to our west there, but still not expecting a really active pattern. So while December has been a very wild ride, it seems like we may have a more average kind of quiet start to 2026 with more seasonable temperatures and not a whole lot of activity in the forecast for the first few days of the new year. Checking in on the comments. Laura watching from Dawson Springs, thank you. Emma forgot to turn her heat on last night. I'm sure that caught a lot of people. A lot of us had turned off the heat because our temperatures have been in the 60s and 70s since Tuesday. So we had spent nearly a week in the 60s and 70s. So we've had our heat turned off, our windows opened up, and then that cold weather set in last night. And if you forgot to turn your heat back on like Emma did, you may have woken up to a pretty cold house this morning. Yeah, Cheyenne down in Tennessee, so south of the tri-state, a little warmer there, but still dealing with the big drop in temperatures from that cold front. And Cheyenne asking if we're going to get snow. No. We may catch a stray rain shower Friday, but we're not going to get much of anything this whole next 7 days. I think most of us stay dry this whole next week. Some of us, mainly in western Kentucky, could maybe catch a rain shower on Friday, but generally it looks mostly dry through the entire next 7 days. No snow in the forecast. Some of you may catch a brief flurry or two today, kind of caught up in the backside of this low pressure system that brought us the storms last night, but even that seems like a pretty slim chance. And Terrence O'Connell saying, I like this kind of weather. It's normal. Yes, we haven't had a whole lot of normal here recently, as I mentioned. Let me just show you really quickly before we go here, just for some perspective. This is the calendar of high temperatures so far this month. What a range we've got here. We had a lot of 30s the first couple weeks of the month. On that Sunday, the 14th, we were on alert for extreme cold. We had a high of just 15 degrees that day. But then by that Wednesday, we had warmed into the upper 50s, and then we were generally running much warmer than average from that point on. We hit 70 on Friday. Yesterday, we hit 70 again, setting a new record high temperature. But like I said, when you look at the average temperature, so you take all the highs, all the lows, add them up, divide them up, the average temperature for the month of December as a whole is actually only less than a degree off from normal. So all those cold temperatures and all those warm temperatures kind of offset. And we have actually, if you looked at just the average temperature, you would think we had a pretty normal December. That was not the case at all though. So that one number, not a good reflection of how the month has actually played out. I will say we are running a little drier than average for the month of December. We have not had a whole lot of rain. We've had a couple of very small snowstorms, snow showers that have moved through. I can show you that as well. So we have these temperatures that have been quite a wild ride. Obviously, anytime you have a big temperature change like that, it typically comes with some rain. So we have had some minor rain and snow showers. The heaviest rain was back on Thursday, the 18th of December. We had some pretty heavy rain roll through then. And then we've had some other lighter rain showers in the mix. Last night, Evansville picked up a little less than a half inch of rain, even though those storms were strong and even severe at times and had a lot of wind. And as they were moving through, it rained pretty heavy for a minute there. The storms really pushed through very quickly, so it didn't rain for a long time last night, so it didn't add up to very much. So we are running a little drier than normal so far for the month of December, but all in all, it does look like now we're sort of resetting. While yesterday was very warm, today is very cold. We're then going to even back out. Tomorrow we start to warm back up, and then we've got just nice typical late December, early January temperatures from Wednesday through the weekend. Kind of a mix of sun and clouds, partly to mostly sunny, just depending on the day. Wednesday and Friday seem like they'll be a little cloudier, get a little more sun in here. Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and into the weekend. Again, maybe a stray shower in western Kentucky on Friday, but most of us are probably going to stay dry through the whole next 7 days. So while December has really been a wild ride, it does seem like we are going to have a quieter, more average start to the month of January. So something to look forward to there. All right, I'm not seeing any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping this up. And obviously, you can catch an updated look at the forecast tonight at 4, 5, 6, and then Michael Feckle will be on here at 9 o'clock tonight for our streaming show. So wherever you're watching me right now, you can catch Michael tonight as well. And if you do have any questions about the forecast, he can answer those for you then. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and everybody have a great rest of your day and stay warm out there. It is cold and it is windy, so bundle up.